All right, so the new Rugrats game is out. You may remember about 6 months ago or so, I showed the demo for this, and the demo came out on Steam. And if you downloaded the demo, in the Steam folder, you got a ROM file that you could play on a real NES. And of course, I assumed once the real game came out, that would be the case as well. Well, 6 months later, the game comes out on Steam. I'm excited. I buy the game, only to realize the ROM file is nowhere to be found. Then it gets worse. A few days later, I find out the game's going to be free on Epic Game Store. Like, are you freaking kidding me? I was so excited to buy this game, mainly because it would come with the NES ROM. I wanted to support the developers for doing what they were doing. The game comes out, I buy it. There's no ROM file, and then just finding out a few days later it's going to be free on Epic Game Store. I got a refund on Steam. I've been using Steam for 12 years. I've never asked for a refund on a game before. And here we are. The game I was looking the most forward to, I'm asking for a refund. So I got the free version on Epic Game Store. The free version on Epic Game Store also doesn't include the ROM file for the NES ROM file. Again, the demo had the NES ROM file in the folder, and so a lot of us were under the assumption that the full version would also have the NES ROM. Of course, this isn't something that they ever stated, so I wasn't super mad, at the developers at least. It was upsetting, but in a way I still liked the game and the fact it's using an NES ROM under the hood. It's basically running an NES game under the hood. I still wanted to support the game, but then they go and put it free on Epic Games Store. Anyways, so the free version on Epic Games Store, of course, doesn't have the NES ROM file either, but, whatever. At this point, it's a free game. A few days later, I find out the Steam version gets an update, and now the Steam version gives you access to the NES ROM file. And, of course, now the version on Epic Game Store isn't free anymore. So now you can buy this game on Steam, or you can buy this game on Epic Game Store. The Epic Game Store version doesn't give you any access to the NES ROM file. The Steam version does, although it's kind of hidden, so I'll have instructions in the description. If you buy this game on Steam, how to access the NES ROM file. Nonetheless, all that said, kind of a botched launch, and it kind of irks me that they would release this game on Steam knowing that literally within days it was going to be free on Epic Game Store. But again, if we look past all of that, this is a really good NES game, and it's still worth buying. So again, buy it on Steam. You'll get access to the NES ROM file. All right, so take a look at a level here. Of course, you got the different babies you can play as I showed in the demo. Very Super Mario Brothers 2-esque. You got Chucky has almost like a Luigi kind of a floaty jump. The graphics are great. The music is great. The controls are great. It really is a good NES game. It's just a shame that the launch and all that kind of tarnished my excitement for what the developers were doing. Of course, this game was also sold on a physical NES cartridge through Limited Run Games, and of course that sold out almost immediately. Before I probably even knew what this was, it was already sold out. And so if I could buy this on a real NES cartridge, I would, but can't really do that unless someone else ends up releasing it, or maybe Limited Run Games, if they re-release it. If they re-release it, where maybe it's just the cartridge and you don't get the box and the manual, I would have been fine with that too. But yeah, as it stands right now, if you want to play this on an NES, buy the Steam version. And again, you'll have to follow the instructions in the description to extract the file. It's not just there as a .NES file, like I believe it was with the demo, if I remember correctly. So yeah, playing this on my EverDrive. It's a 512 kilobyte file. That would be 4 megabits. A 4 meg game. And yeah, so I mean, pretty big for an NES game. But I mean, looking at it, it's to be expected. Lots of cutscenes, lots of nice graphics. Lots of nice animations. Not sure what mapper chip it uses. Probably like the... Was it the MMC3 or whatever that Super Mario 3 used? So yeah, there's a look at a level, and you know what? I'll bring up... we'll bring up Sandbox. I think that's the one that was in the demo. And we'll switch over to Tommy. This game does have SRAM, battery backup, which is pretty freaking cool. Having a game that plays like this, looks like this, again, kind of Super Mario Brothers 2-esque. I've heard it's kind of short, and having a battery backup, of course, you don't have to beat it all in one sitting, I suppose. Like you did with Super Mario Brothers 2 or even 3 back in the day. Yeah, this was the level. This was the level that was in the demo. So you've seen this before. But yeah, nonetheless, kind of a bit of a shit show, honestly, in the launch of this game. And, a little bit upsetting. I'll restart the game. Like I said, it does have a battery backup. But, yeah, so the launch was a bit of a shit show for me. I was really looking forward to this. I was really just amazed by what they were doing, and assuming that they were going to release the NES ROM, and buying the game on Steam, finding out it doesn't have the NES ROM. Only days later, finding out it's going to be free on Epic Games Store. I at that point, I had to get a refund. If I can get the game free on Epic Games Store, I mean, what are they doing? I hope Epic paid them well. But at the same time, the demo came out on Steam first. We were all aware of this game because of the Steam demo. And they released the game on Steam and charged for it, knowing that it's going to be free on Epic Games Store in a week or whatever. And, the Epic Games Store version, again, it's not free anymore. They both cost money at this point. But the Epic Games Store version doesn't give you access to the NES ROM. The Steam version does. Again, it's not right there in plain sight. Again, instructions in the description. If you've got the Steam version and you want to get access to the actual NES ROM file, it's easy to do. And if you've got a flash card, you can play it on a real NES. If you just want to play it in an emulator, of course, it works there too. But yeah, putting all the launch stuff aside and how I was disappointed with that, at this point, knowing you can buy it on Steam, knowing it gives you access to the NES ROM, it's a really good game. So, unfortunately, I gotta say, buy it on Steam. Knowing that it was free for a while. And if you got the Epic Game Store version for free, great, you've got the game, but you don't have access to the NES ROM file. So now what are you supposed to do? Buy it again on Steam? Well, let's just say I didn't do that. So this NES ROM's out there if you want to find it. Now, look, if I knew this right as of this point, that I could buy it on Steam and get the NES ROM file, I would. I did buy this game on Steam. I still want to support these developers for doing what they did. I don't know what happened with the Epic Game Store and Steam and the Epic Game Store version not getting access to the NES ROM file. But all that aside, again, it is a really good NES game. If you want it, you should buy it on Steam. If you got the game for free on Epic Game Store like me, you shouldn't have to go buy the game again on Steam just to get access to the NES ROM file. So, again, it's out there if you look for it. I'm not going to tell you where or how to find it. I'm just going to tell you it's out there. So, yeah, really good game. I'm going to not let the launch and the fact I bought this game and, all that happened, I'm going to forget about that and just enjoy this game because it's a really good game.